In this video, we will see the report that TBox can generate. The reports are required when you send files by FTP, or you can also send those files by email. Those reports can contain online values of your process. It can also contain data logging of TBox. So in order to provide a little bit more data logging in TBox, first we will create some tags associated to the valves here. So let's first start TwinSoft to do that. For each valve we will create two tags. One digital output to activate the valve and one analog tag representing the flow. And the flow will be simulated later on by doing some PLC programming. So let's start by doing the digital output. So I go to my resources, IOs, I open my simulation card and I go to the output, and from the output I create three output valves. Valve 1. I have created the three outputs representing the valve. I can see them into my list of tags. I will now create internal analog tags representing the flows. I call them flow. The unit is cubic meter per hour. I just keep the Modbus address as it is. An internal variable can be duplicated by doing copy paste. So I just press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I have created my three flow variables. We have seen in the video about data logging that it could be included into a report. So let's create data logging with the variable we have just created here. I have declared in chronologies the valves with positive and negative edge recording, and in sampling tables I have declared the flow with average measurement each 15 minutes during 7 days. By the way, the same configuration as the water level here on top. Okay, now everything is now ready for creating the report. So we go to the folder web and report files. We click add a web or report file, and then we see in the different files we can create, we have new report. So I select this one and I just type a name and I call it my report, for instance. You see the extension is trep. By default, you leave it like that. trep stands for TBox Report and is associated to another software called Report Studio. It is a text editor in which you can type your own text and insert dynamic data which will be generated by TBox. So let's type, for instance, the name of our station. Let's call our station Atlantis. Then you can insert, for instance, the date, and you select this object date. When the report is generated by TBox, this will be the date when the report is generated, which correspond to date and time in TBox. You can also include values of tags. So if I want to have in my report the value, the level of the tank when the report is generated, I add this tag into the report and I can customize the display to 5 characters with 2 decimal, and I can type a unit. I can also, for instance, put the temperature of the CPU. On the same way, I select the tag. The tag is internal temperature. And here I also customize like this. And the unit is degrees centigrade that I type myself. Then we have object to display historical data, like for instance the list of alarms. So you select the speaker, OK, and it insert a table in which we will have the alarm situation in TBox. Other object to display historical data of tags, this multi-column history table. I call it water tower, for instance, and I will declare the sampling tables associated to the level of the tower and the 3 flows. So I can add sampling tables here, and when I click on the 3 buttons, I can see the historical data available. I will select water level, flow, flow 2, flow 3. One restriction: the table you insert here, the sampling tables you insert, must have exactly the same configuration in terms of period of recording and time of recording, because they will have one column for time and date, and then following column for one column for each tag. So let's do this. I select water level, OK. I can type a header, which will be, for instance, level meter. And let's add the 3 flows on the same way. OK, with flow 3, note that to display the value you have the same rules as when displaying a tag, where you can select the size of the value and the number of decimal. Note also that you have access to the type of recording, which is min or max or average, that you have defined for the sampling table. And in case you would have declared multiple sampling tables for the same tag, you could select to display a column for the min, a column for the max, a column for the average, if you have defined multiple sampling tables with the same tag. In the header, I put, well, the name of the information, and I can put a unit. OK. So let's see the result of this. It will look like this. So date and time, and then one column for each of my tag. Let's save this, and let's see the result in TBox. I will close this, and I will send this to the TBox. Sending is complete. As you can see, I have opened a browser that I will use to test my report. Typically, the reports are meant to be sent either by FTP, email, or even HTTP post. But TBox also hosts a web server, and I can use this web server functionality to access TBox with the browser and just type the name of the report to display its data. When I define a report with the extension trep, TBox in fact will generate a report in text format. So I just have to type the IP address of my TBox, followed by the name of my report, respecting the case. So if you communicate through USB, the IP address is 10.8.10.1, and you type the name of your report with the extension txt, and you see the result. You can see that I have generated alarms. If I generate a new alarm, so if I change my water level and I go less than 2.5, my TBox will generate a new alarm. If I refresh this window here, well, I see I have a new alarm at the moment, which is at the moment not acknowledged. The level of the water has changed also. So if I change the level again, I increase it to 3.740. I refresh. I have 303 meter 0.74, and I see that my alarm has been acknowledged. With this trick, you can simulate report without having defined any FTP or email servers. Let's go back to the list of web and report and see report of other formats. So we have seen the trep file is generated in text file. Now, if you type the extension yourself, you can generate report in CSV format. So if I type my report CSV.csv, so I type the extension while creating the file, it will make a new report in a CSV format. Even if it seems to be associated to Excel in my case, if I double click this file, it's still Report Studio that opens. Report in CSV format generates tables, so for instance, list of alarms, with colon separated by the separator character. The separator character can be customized in TwinSoft properties, so I'm back in TwinSoft. So I click RTU properties, advanced, localization, and the list separator is here. By default is for me semicolon. By the way, date and times format can also be customized. So I go back to my report. So tables will be, the column in tables will be separated by semicolon in my case. The multiple column history table that I have defined in my other report, I can include it here also, and the easiest is just that I copy paste it. So Control C, Control V. So my CSV report is finished. I save it, I close it, and I send this to TBox. Sending is complete. I can use the same trick with the browser to display the result of my report. So instead of my report in text format, I will type the name I have given for the CSV. Mine, it is case sensitive. And the browser prompts me to open Excel, and I see my tables with each field separated in separate columns. Note that there is no column header, because if you have multiple tables in the report, well, each table has different column headers. So in case you would need headers, column headers, you will have to type them in the report separated with the list separator character. Okay. Let's see another format of report. Back in our folder for rep and report files, now add a report in XML format. So here again, you type the extension, so I call it my report xml.xml. Save. It generates a new report associated to, in my case, the text editor. But if I double click, it's still Open Report Studio. I will add the same object as I did in the CSV report. So I add the alarm list, and I will add this multi-column table that I will copy paste from my original report. So my XML report is generated. Let's save and see immediately the result by sending to TBox. Sending is complete, and once again we can use the same trick to display the result. So I type my XML name and I see the result. I have the XML tag, you see, opening, closing. I have my alarms, and I have my water level, my flow. Note that everything can be customized here. So the name of the XML tags can be customized, and the data you want to display can also be customized. Let's take a look to this. I have opened a report, and I've gone to the help. On the help, I have a topic with the report in XML format, in which I can see the default template. So the template is what TwinSoft use by default to build the information in the report. So we can see, for instance, we have a report title here, which is our main XML tag, which we can find here. The alarm table XML tag, we find it here. The record, date, and so on. So you will see between brackets, you can see all the XML tags. Then the percentage indicates which data you want to display. And this data is available here in the help. So you can build your own template. So like this, you define your own text file in which you adapt this. And this text file, you will declare it into the RTU property, the report properties, report properties, advanced, XML model, and here you define your text file. We still can do more with the report. Let's open our first report, the one with the trep extension, and let's take a look to this attachment menu. First, we can attach file. So we have created report in text format, in CSV format, and in XML format. Imagine that I would like to send, at the same time I send my report in text format, I would like to send also the one in CSV format. So I will attach it to my TREP report. So when I send my TREP report, at the same time it will send the CSV report. We have another attachment option, which is attach history, alarm table, and database. This will generate a binary file that can be used by TView, which is a TBox data aggregator. And finally, we have a third attachment option, which is attach an URL, and this relates to the use of a camera. Before we define it, let's take a look to a camera connected to TBox. So TBox supports Ethernet IP camera. So not webcam, not USB camera, but Ethernet IP camera. So I have an Ethernet IP camera connected to a switch on the same network as my TBox. But typically the camera could be connected directly to the Ethernet. Each camera has a URL to access a snapshot. So you see here, I just take a picture, a snapshot from the camera. If I refresh the image, if I put my hand, you see, I put my hand, and each time I refresh the image, I take a snapshot. The idea is that the TBox could do the same. When you want to have an image from your site, you generate an alarm. This alarm sends a report, and the report includes a camera image. So let's define this. We will create a new report which will be sent when the door is open. So first I will just close this, close and save, and I will generate a new report. I will call new report intrusion. This is a text file, and I can put station Atlantis, the same as to know where it comes from. I can put the date, I can put the time, and finally I will add an URL. And what URL is it? It's exactly the URL I have here. So I can copy paste this. So HTTP, the IP address of my camera, image.jpg. And that's it. And I save. Now, this report will be the data that can be sent either by email or by FTP when someone opens the door. So when someone enters into my water tower, I will have an image of who it is. Last but not least, there is still an option I would like to show you, and this concerns the name of the report. If you happen to do FTP, meaning file copy from TBox to an FTP server, the name of the report, which is in this case intrusion.txt, this report will be copied to the FTP server. So each time there is a new report, it will override the existing one. So to prevent this, we can use a unique name for each report. When you go to the properties of the report, Advanced, you have an option, Send report with unique file name. You click Yes. So each report and attachment, in this case the image, will have a unique name, which is by default date and time, preceded the name of the report. I will save this, and I will use the same option for my original report. I will activate the same option. Save. And this unique file name can be customized from the RTU properties, Advanced, Web and Report, and this is the format of the name, year, month, day, and so on, but you have a lot of possibilities. If you go to the Help, Web and Report, you see all the parameters that you can add in the name. Okay, this ends our video about reports. Next video we will do email and FTP, how we can send those reports. But before that, the questionnaire. The question for this video, so we will mostly do what you have seen in the video. So you create the 3 digital output from the simulation card, and from the list of tags you create 3 internal variables, format flow. You declare the valves into chronology, and you declare the flows into sampling tables. You save the document. This is important because when we start Report Studio, it will use the TwinSoft document, and everything you have done in TwinSoft document must then be available for Report Studio. You create a report TREP, and by the way, if you don't see extension, this is because of a Windows configuration where you have to activate the display of the name extension, and this is from Windows Explorer. In the report, you type the name of the station, you insert the date, the time, the tags for the water level and the temperature of the CPU, you add the list of alarms, and you add a multi-column history table with those sampling tables. You save and send to TBox. You open a browser and you display this report into the browser. If you communicate through USB, the IP is 10.8.10.1, and remember that the report with extension TREP corresponds to a text file in TBox. So you type the name of the report .txt. You take a snapshot. You create CSV and XML report including tables, list of alarms, and multi-column history. In the TREP report, you attach this CSV report. In the advanced properties of the TREP report, you check the option to use a unique file name. You send us the application and the snapshot you have taken from the browser. Good luck!